Hello everyone, and welcome to the Distinct Mastering YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking all about the Soundtoys Panman plugin. It's a very cool plugin for adding movement to your sounds. It's one of those things that beginners often overlook, so let's get right into it. Okay, I have a very simple Ableton session loaded up here. I have a Serum just playing a sine wave, and I have the Panman at default right now. I'm sure all of you that own Panman have definitely tested it out. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the plugin, so let's get into this. Basically, it's just like all Soundtoys plugins. You have all of your presets right here. You have an offset button, which can offset the panning of the left and right. You have the width, which controls the overall width of the panning. And then you have the smoothing, which will smooth out, you see the graph here, kind of smooth out the sound. Let me go ahead and play this a little bit. So you can see it's panning. When I go to hard, it gets clicky. When I go to soft, it gets smoother. And as you see, the width controls how wide the pan is, and you can go left or more right. So this is kind of an interesting control because then it'll take the panning and shift it to the right and pan within a certain parameter or the left. Next you have the rate, and these are all the global controls. You can go pan from left, pan from right, or left to right. Let me slow the rate down so you can see what that does. And then see left just goes left, back, left, and right does the exact opposite. This is going to be your selection for the type of panning that you want. You have a bunch of different options here, which I'm going to get to in a second. Then you have your basic input and output, and you have the tweak parameters. So getting into the tweak parameters, you have a lot of different options here. You have a threshold, and you have the attack and the release. The threshold will set the level of where the rate and the depth will begin, and the attack and release will control how quickly that reacts and lets go, just like any normal attack and release settings. You have two modes here, which is the envelope mode and the gate mode. And these, note that all these settings will change depending on what style of panning module you want. And then you have the offset mod, the width mod, and the rate here. And this rate knob will control the signal based on the threshold and the LFO itself. So it's not the overall rate, but it's just a more fine-tuned control. So let's see if we can get this thing. You hear it here moving faster, and then here it's kind of a little slower. So this is just all controlling the actual LFO modulation itself because we are on the LFO. And then lastly, in the tweak parameters, these are global. You have analog style, you have clean, fat, squash, dirt, crunch, shred, pump, or op amp. Let's take a listen to some of these. So we're on clean. Here's fat, squash, dirt, crunch, shred. It's cool, it changed the sound. Pump, and then op amp. Very cool. Very cool stuff. Taking a look at the next thing, you'll see as I change these, the tweak parameters will set. So now we're on the rhythm step. And this one's cool because you get a bunch of preset rhythms. You can go from these presets to bars, notes, dotted, or triplets. So this is really cool because I could go, say, 16th notes, and I could say 4 steps, and I want hard smoothing. And then what happens is you see the actual rhythm step editor down here, and you can literally drag and drop. If I wanted to go 8th note grid or 16th note, I can take these away. I can hold option, which is kind of a secret little function, and it won't snap to the grid anymore, so I can move these off grid. I get a bunch of different smoothing modes here. Sine, exponential, symmetrical, reverse. So, you know, this can change the way the smoothing is working. Look at that. Very interesting. And there's a lot of different stuff. There's a bunch of presets here that you can do. Once again, it's basically matching some of the presets that you found up here. And it's kind of cool because you can draw in your own shapes and then you can save your presets right there. Moving into the next one, we're looking at rhythm shape. And this one is very similar to the rhythm step, but you're getting just a standard shape. So if I wanted to just draw in something like this, I could do more of a custom shape. If I wanted to go bigger on the grid, I could then just draw in what I want, each shape. And the cool thing is, you can just point and click these. That's obviously really small. Probably would be too small for what we would want to do. But you could see you could get some really interesting panning effects this way. And if I wanted to just load up a preset shape, here's an 1/8 dotted. I like that, you know. So, and you see by playing with this threshold here, I'm getting the Panman to react differently. I can say hold this longer. I want a wide and I want it a little faster. Let's go to the shred. That's cool. I mean, that could be the basis for an ambient sound running in the background of your track. Next, we have ping pong, which gives you a filter. The monitor button will allow you to listen to the filter. Here's your cutoff. You could change the filter type from low pass to high pass. So say if I want a low pass filter, this is what we're modulating. Go back to clean. And so with this one, the difference is you get a divider. So you can say I want this to be divided as many times as you want. And then when it crosses the threshold, or you can manually hit the trigger, it will pan. So I have this off. It's not panning right now. Let's go wide. There it goes. Okay, so we're outside of the trigger value. Now within the trigger value, you can see you got to get it at the right spot and it will start to pan because it's going up and down with this red bar. So if you want it to go 4 steps, divide it by 4, it's going to take 4 times before it switches the pan trigger. So that's another unique one. And then you have a random, which there's no controls for this one. It's just going to pan randomly. And it's really, really random. You can kind of pick a rhythm. You can also sync to MIDI if you wanted to, right here. And last but not least is the step editor. And this one is basically similar. You have a divider. Let's take it down to another step. Let's take this down. So you see, I'm manually triggering it. I'm on 3 steps. I'm going to go down to 1 step. And there it goes. So the Panman is really cool to add movement and character to your sounds and just give sounds kind of bouncing around the space. I'm going to show you an example of how I used it in one of my tracks. Okay, I've got a track I've been working on this week with my friend Lavelle Dupree, and this is an upcoming Fresco Bar and Lavelle Dupree track, probably on NOS Recordings, not sure. We literally just made this, but I know that there's a Panman right here on this topper, and I'll go ahead and play you a little bit of this track so you can kind of hear it. Now let's solo this track right here. It's filtering up right there. So if I go over here, that's the track in context. Now solo this again. It's not doing much. But it's doing a little bit. I have the width set to a minimum. I could do something more like this. But I obviously didn't want that much. I just wanted a little movement. Without it, it's just stagnant. And just adding little flavors like that can keep the listener interested. little things, even that small. So explore the Soundtoys Panman. It's a fun plugin. Thanks for watching this video on the Soundtoys Panman. If you enjoyed it, consider liking the video, leaving me a comment if you have any questions, and hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date. The notification bell will keep you up to date when I upload new videos. My name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace.